Are you finding it hard to trust your twin flame connection? Are their words and behaviour starting to make you doubt everything? The thing is, hurt people. So what they're doing is coming from a place of pain and fear. So we have to learn to trust what's not being said and trust what our intuition is telling us. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is the thing. We're creatures of logic. So what's being said, what's being done is what we're used to believing, what we've known, or what we understand. But I've said this before, we need to believe in order to see. And oftentimes what we're seeing is based on wounding. And this is the thing, your twin flame isn't here to hurt you. They don't want to hurt you, but they're in pain themselves. So their behavior and their words are coming from a place of woundedness. And this is the thing we have to remember. And this is so important when it comes to our triggers. Do you know what I mean? If you're triggered, take a moment. Take a moment to breathe and take a moment to understand why you're being triggered. We often blame our twin flame and say, you're fucking assholes. You're ready to fucking, rage war on them. But when you take a moment to pause and just breathe and just take a minute and go, I'm being triggered here. What is it within me that I need to heal? Then you're going to understand that you can come back in a moment or an hour or in a day or two and respond from a calmer energy. And this is the thing, because if we're responding to messages or our twin flame's behavior from a place of heightened emotion, we're going to say things we regret. Like, in fairness, like any of our past relationships, we were unaware, we were unhealed. And oftentimes, arguments were fucking toxic. The things you said were things that you don't even believe. The things they said, well, if it was a narcissist, they probably did fucking mean them. But, the things you've said in a heightened state of anger and emotion have been really bad, and you've not meant them, or that's not who you are. So, oftentimes if we get into an argument with our twin flame, there can be the back and forth energy of, you're a fucking asshole, and you're an asshole, and you're an asshole, and it's just really shitty energy coming through. Because when you're in an unhealed state, and when you lack awareness, when you lack the ability to understand that you can actually control what you fucking say, then you end up saying the wrong thing. But we have to start to understand that our twin flame is saying things and doing things based on their level of wounding as well. You're not just triggered by them, they're triggered by you. Do you know what I mean? So if you set a boundary or if you speak your truth, they're going to react from a wounded place. For example, these relationships, anytime you're in a relationship and you're in the energy of insecurity, every argument you feel is the end. You're like, oh my God. And then this is why we brush things under the carpet, is because you're in the energy of like, oh my God, they're going to break up with me. Oh my God, they're going to break up with me. So I'm going to apologize to them for being a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? So like you're in this heightened state of fight or flight, and it's like, oh my God, it's over. So, the reason your twin flame runs is obviously because they're afraid and they're wounded and they're in fear as well. But they're also in this thing of like, oh my God, she said something, so therefore it's over. No, I just set a fucking boundary. Let's have an adult conversation. And this is what's happened for me. Like, I had to start, like, I can read what my twin flame is saying beyond his words. So I feel what he's saying. And I can do this with anyone. You know what I mean? It's not just a telepathic connection with my twin flame. I read energy. So I know when somebody says something, whether it's verbal or on a message, I'm like, that's good energy, that's bad energy. I'm reading between the lines. I'm reading between the commas, all this kind of stuff. But you know what I mean? So I can understand when my twin flame says something, I can feel what's underneath it. And I set a boundary with him lately. Well, I didn't even set a boundary. I just told him, look, I won't be taken for granted anymore. So, make time for me, or, we won't see each other for a while. I want to see you again, but only when you're ready to make time for me. And he took this as oh yeah, okay, well, fuck you. Like, this ego mentality came in. It's like, yeah, well, maybe it's not meant to be so. And it's like, run. Like, let's end this whole thing. So, like, his words are literally saying, you're a worthless piece of shit and I'm not going to make time for you. But I had to understand that was just a trigger for my abandonment wound, my rejection wound, and my unworthiness wound. And yes, his reaction does sound like, I'd rather not put the effort in. You're not worth my time, so let's end this. But I had to read that message over and over and over and over again to understand that he responded from a triggered energy. He responded from fear and pain. And he's afraid that he will lose control because I've literally said that I want a little bit of control. And it's not about me wanting control, but literally for me not using my voice, I'm allowing my twin flame to control the dynamic. Allowing him to take me for granted means that I was losing myself, meant that I was losing my voice. And when I actually set a boundary or spoke my truth, I was treated as if I didn't fucking matter. But that was effectively just to trigger that wound for me. And I had to read beneath the surface. So we have to, and I know a lot of us have gotten ill treatment from our twin flame. We've been taken for granted and we've been spoken to harshly, or literally said, or, they've insinuated, you're not worth my time or energy. But they don't mean that. They're going through healing as well, and they're going through, and I'm not condoning that kind of behavior, and this is why we need to set those boundaries. We are choosing to allow them to treat us that way, and if you don't train a fucking puppy, they're not going to fucking learn their lesson. What I'm trying to say here is if you continue to allow someone to treat you like shit, they're going to continue to treat you like shit. But we have to understand that what's being said and what's being done is coming from a place of triggering and wounding, and what's really being felt is different. So we have to start to come back to this 5D side of this connection. This is the thing. I get more answers from my twin flame when we're in separation. I understand him more when we're in separation because he's not wearing that fucking mask. And that's the thing. Oh my God, I've seen his soul. I've seen who he really is. He's shown me who he really is. But the minute this got too intense, he put up this fucking mask and it was like, I'm a toxic masculine man and I have no fucking feelings. But that's effectively what it is, because we're in this energy of, the twin flame, like the twin flame dynamic, and especially the masculine, they don't know how to express emotion. They don't know how to feel intensity. They don't know how to be vulnerable. And the twin flame dynamic fucking opens all of those wounds and all that energy for them. So they go from being vulnerable at the start to literally going wall up, they're not an asshole, but they become an asshole because they're too afraid to open up to their truth and their emotions. So we have to start to remember that they're not actually an asshole. They're just wearing the mask of an asshole because they're afraid to own their truth. And until they heal, they're still going to come back in the energy of taking you for granted, speaking words that don't fucking sound very nice, and literally, saying what you don't want to hear. But what you need to start listening to is the telepathic side. What are they saying to you underneath those words? This is where your feelings come in and your intuition comes in. You know what I mean? Like, I can see beneath his words. I can feel beneath his words. He spoke those words in a place of pain, a place of fear, a fear of losing control, a fear of losing himself. Because this is the thing. Not only have we both parties have been in toxic dynamics before, they've lost control before. Just one of our biggest fears is losing ourselves. And the intensity of the twin flame connection fucking shit overwhelms you, like, you know what I mean? It really fucks you up and you're like, I feel like I'm losing myself to this love. But the whole objective of healing and becoming so aware is understanding that you cannot lose yourself to your twin flame. You can only lose yourself to your past. And if you continue to stay in the past energy of fear, ego-based mind, wearing that mask, you're never going to be true to yourself. This is the thing, like, you're afraid you're going to lose yourself to the most divine relationship ever. Whereas in actual fact, you evolve into your best version because of it. So you refusing to do the inner work or staying stuck in your past energy, you're staying lost. Like, for the person you were up until you meet divinity, effectively, until you awaken to your truth, you've always been in a false energy. You've never truly owned who you are and been authentic. So up until now, you have continued to be someone you're not. And this dynamic, this relationship, this journey brings you into your truth of who you really are. The person behind the fucking mask. Do you know what I mean? Ask yourself this, like, are you hiding behind a mask? You know, are you hiding behind the truth? And this is what we have to see through with our twin flame. What is behind their mask? We know their soul. Their soul is us. We are them. They are us. You know, we're one. You have felt into who they really are. But yet every time they ghost or every time they say something that hurts, we revert back into the wound that was there from the start. That rejection wound, that abandonment wound, that unworthiness wound. And all we can feel and think is that we're not good enough. But we are. And your twin flame loves you for who you are. They're just afraid to love themselves for who they really are. That's the problem, like. They're not choosing themselves. And they're hiding behind a mask. But who do you see behind that mask? Who do you feel behind that mask? Who do you know beyond that mask? Because this is what we have to trust in. You know, and I was reminded of this yesterday. Like, you know, I'm obviously in the energy of feeling rejected, feeling unworthy, feeling like I don't matter. But yeah, I was in a meditation last night and I was reminded of the day we met. And my intuition knew he was going to ask me for my number. My intuition knew he was coming that day. My intuition recognized his voice, recognized his face, recognized his soul. And ever since, you know, along the last couple of years, I know when he's going to contact me. I feel his energy. He answers me in dreams. I feel him in dreams. But every single time I'm like, oh, he's going to text today. He ends up texting. So every time I've heard my intuition, it's been right. You know, every time I've had a knowing about him, it's been right. So I have to start or continue to trust that. Continue to trust what's behind his words. Continue to trust what I see behind his mask. And that's what keeps this dynamic alive and what helps me heal my own wound. My unworthiness wound, my rejection wound, my abandonment wound, it's there. It's there from childhood. It's there from my past relationships. Yes, what my twin flame does and says in the treaty triggers that. But he triggers it so that I can heal it. And obviously I trigger stuff for him as well. And hence why he comes back with this kind of energy. It's because he needs to heal his past. So this is what we have to trust and understand. They're coming from a place of wounding as well. Hurt people. And unaware, unhealed people hiding behind a mask literally say shit they don't mean. We've all been there until we evolve and grow. Now it's so important to take a step back. Every time you're triggered, hold space for yourself and go to yourself. This is my problem. This is my fucking trigger. How do I heal this before attacking my twin flame? And vice versa. They need to start to take a step back as well. Understand what's going on here. Understand that they're in pain as well. Understand that this is not their past. And start to become more aware of how they speak and how they act and how they behave. Because, you know, and we have to trust what we don't hear, and we have to trust what's not being said. But we have to trust ourselves more than anything. So trust your intuition, trust what's underneath, and trust what you feel in your soul. Because that's what's true. So any of these triggers, any of this pain, any of this 3D behavior or words that doesn't, you know, that is upsetting you, it's there to show you what you need to heal. But it's not the truth. And you know what the truth is. You know how your twin flame feels. You know that they care for you. And you know that they're just hiding behind fear and a mask. And once you can trust that, trust your intuition and trust what you truly feel, that's when things will start to align, and that's when you can heal. Because when we come back to the 5D side of this connection, heal the outside, but heal the inside as well. But like heal the 3D and trust in the 5D. That's when things will begin to align. So just trust what your intuition is telling you, not what the words are telling you, not what their behavior is telling you, because that's the truth. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today. And I would love nothing more than to help in your path. Also have another channel called Aligning with Angie, where I share a guided meditation every week. The info for that is in the description box. And I'm hosting a inner child healing workshop, a 90-minute workshop on the 4th of March at 6 p.m. Ireland UK time. So anyone with issues around rejection, abandonment, or unworthiness, this would be a really helpful workshop for you. If you want information for that, please comment below.